Good morning, guys. Happy Thursday morning. Well, it's here. While you were sleeping, the national debt maxed out. Okay? The credit card is full. Okay? Actually, we're over 100% now. The $31.4 trillion that is a credit limit on the U.S. government has now been surpassed. Here at about quarter after 5, according to usdebtclock.org, we're just under $31.5 trillion. Okay, so we're already $100 billion over the debt. Now, y'all have probably seen all the panic, the my hair's on fire crap that's coming out of the media, especially the liberal media. We've got to blame the Republicans on everything for this. It's all their fault. Yeah, right. Okay. Remind me again who passes spending bills for transvestite grasshoppers in Sri Lanka. Yeah, okay. Right. Okay. But there's a whole lot of misinformation. Gee, go figure. Coming out of the media, coming out of the government on what is going to happen. And I want you to understand this. They're trying to use this as a political tool, all right? And they do this every time. One side blames the other. It's all your fault, blah, blah, blah. You know, the world's going to collapse, right? You hear this. It's all the Republicans' fault. CNN's got an article that the only time we ever have a problem with this is when we have a Republican Congress and a Democrat president, okay? Because it's always the Republicans' fault that we can't pay the bills. But the truth is, it's always the Democrats' fault that we have the bills that we can't pay. Because again, they come up with the bullshit. But a lot of the information that's coming out is just flat out wrong, okay? It's a lie, and they're trying to scare you. And that's the whole tactic, guys. They scare everybody. Scaring people is the easiest way to influence a decision, okay? Simple as that. Think about this. If you don't do this, we're going to take your house, take your kids, whatever it would be. That scares you, and you're like, okay, I'll do anything. Don't take my kids, right? That's what they try to do. They try to put the fear in you. Well, the classic was Janet Yellen, who doesn't know her ass from a hole in the ground, okay, came up and said, quoted this week, nearly 5 million seniors could stop receiving Social Security checks for a time. That's her quote if Congress doesn't raise the debt ceiling. That is a 100% flat-out lie. That is not true at all. All of you guys on Social Security, please understand, Social Security funds are completely separate. Okay, yes, I know back in the 70s we took the Social Security Trust Fund and it was put in the general fund and it was pissed away by Democrats. I get that. Okay. But Social Security is a sui generis program, meaning on its own, okay? There is a separate fund for Social Security benefits that is funded currently, okay? Everybody that's working right now is paying into Social Security. Remember, Social Security now was turned into a Ponzi scheme. The kid that's working now that's putting money in Social Security is paying for the person who is receiving it. So it's just kind of a pass-through. It's still there. They're not stopping collecting Social Security payments, okay? So the money's still there, so that will still get paid. It may be a little late. I will qualify that, all right? You may not get your Social Security payment on the exact day it's coming, but it's there, okay? It's not like all of a sudden 50 million seniors are getting cut off and saying, sorry, you don't have any Social Security payments anymore. That ain't happening, okay? Then the other thing that you hear all over the place is, oh my God, today being the 19th, everything's going to shut down today. No more defense, no more border, no more post office, no more national parks, whatever it would be. Why? Okay, not true. All right. Even though all the debt ceiling means today, okay, is that the government cannot issue any more treasury bonds. which is how the government borrows money, okay? You hear about treasury bond auctions and everything like that all the time. The government says, we're going to put another $100 billion out. The investment firms and everything go out and they buy all this treasury bonds and then they sell it to their customers. That's what happens. Or sell it to China or sell it to Japan or whoever would be. That's how the government borrows money. The government cannot issue any more treasury bonds. That is all this means as of today. Does not mean the government is shutting down, does not mean the military is not getting paid, does not mean food stamps aren't going to be there, on the first of the month. Does not mean any of that. It does, and this is why you haven't heard, you heard a lot of this, but nothing going on out of Congress whatsoever. And the reason I'm telling you guys all this is I don't want anybody to freak out, okay? Because the media is trying to get you to. And I'm sorry, but I'm not allowing these scare tactics if I can help it. What the government is going to do now is, like I've said the last couple of days, creative accounting. So what they're going to do is divert money from one place to put it somewhere else. They're going to temporarily stop funding government employees' pension programs and use that money instead to pay the obligations that we have. That's what's going to happen. And that will extend this probably till June or July, all right? So you've got 6 months worth of money that can still keep going along and fund the programs that need to be funded, okay? So please don't freak out about that. Now, when we get to June or July, that's when the issue comes up, okay? And this is what we need to prep for, because right now we've got this. And you all know as well as I do that the split in this country between Democrats and Republicans, the chasm in between, makes the Grand Canyon look like a freaking pinhole, all right? Biden coming out and saying there's no negotiation. The Republicans saying we are doing that, we are getting spending cuts, otherwise we're not raising the debt ceiling. And Biden saying no. That's all great. We're going to stand up and in our corner and everything. You know damn well both sides are going to cave, okay? It's going to happen. Because if they don't do something, they got to raise the debt ceiling, guys. There's no question, okay? Which means we got to go further in debt, okay? Further down into the abyss that is going to be the death of this country. But this is what happens, okay? Federal benefits get frozen, all right? Now, again, not Social Security, don't worry about that. But you start thinking about national defense, active duty members' salaries, okay? Housing programs, Medicare, Medicaid, possibly, okay? Because again, that's still currently funded by taxes taken out of people's paychecks. SNAP programs, et cetera, whatever. That would all get frozen. You got a problem. It would lead us into a massive recession, okay? You'd have no cash pumped in. This is everybody talks about the problem the Fed has, okay? How do they handle this? What's he going to do? Blah, blah, blah. Because this is the thing. Either we raise interest rates and borrow more money to stave off inflation, or we don't and we have a recession. Pick one. Those are the options. You got bad or worse, okay? There is no good option at this point. This is how bad they've screwed this up. Then you add into higher borrowing costs. So I've talked about this, trying to buy a house, buy a car, buy land, do anything that you're going to finance, whatever would be your credit cards, it's going to cost you more in interest. That's a problem. And then the one I talk about over and over and over again, and most of you guys seem to agree with me, some people don't still, and one of these days they will wake up, is stock market volatility. Gee, I've got my money put in my 401k, my IRA, whatever would be, however you've got, regular investment account, whatever would be. And I've said this over and over and over again. You get this, boom, watch 50% get whacked off the market. No problem, okay? Can you afford to lose that kind of money? Hence the reason I keep talking about gold and silver, because if this happens, that's when you watch gold and silver go through the roof. Now, What do we do to protect ourselves from this? There isn't a one-size-fits-all answer. You guys know that, okay? But getting out of debt, yes, of course. Buying gold and silver, yes, of course. Figuring out how to not be reliant on the government for anything, okay? And I get the fact if you're collecting Social Security, that sucks that you gave the government, you had no choice, to give the government your money for safekeeping so you could have it back later. Like you couldn't do that yourself, okay? A lot of people couldn't. That's why they did it, okay? And then they screwed it. Instead of, let's say, 50% of the people screwing it up and having nothing saved, the government made sure that 100% of the people were screwed, had nothing. Don't even get me into it, okay? But this is what I'm saying about the whole thing. Don't freak. The government is not shutting down this weekend, all right? It will eventually happen if they don't do this, yes, okay? It ain't happening today. But what you've got now is 6 months to prepare for what will happen. I've said it many times. Get your money out of the stock market, okay? Take the money out and pay the bills. All right, people ask me, what about the taxes? You're going to pay the taxes either today or tomorrow anyway, okay? Pay the taxes, pay off your debt, and go from there. You know, because, like I've said, what are you going to do if your $100,000 is now worth $70,000 and you go, well, crap. You can't go back and go, you know what, I changed my mind. Can I have the $100,000 and I'll pay the taxes? They're like, no, you can have the $70,000 and pay the taxes. That's how that works, okay? Do I have any regrets of getting out of my 401k 2 years ago and paying off my house? Nope. Every first of the month, I look and go, damn, I don't have a house payment, okay? Same thing. There's going to be a day, you know, we all thought it might be yesterday because all of a sudden you hear Bank of America's got problems. You know, I know, and everybody else knows that when it all comes crashing down, it's going to come crashing down on a Friday, okay? When everybody can run away and hide for 2 days before they have to answer any questions. The banks will all of a sudden close. There won't be any money in the ATM machines, and it'll be Friday at 6 o'clock and nobody's at work. And nobody will be there Saturday, and nobody will be there Sunday, and you're going to be going, holy crap, what do I do over the weekend until Monday when you see this line that's 18 miles long in front of the bank going, I need to get some money, and the bank says, out of business. That's what's happening. Watch this closely because you hear all the stupid stories again. Gee, should the government mint the $1 trillion coin to pay the debt, right? Remember that story? That's getting talked about again, of course. But this is where CBDC comes in. This is where the Great Reset comes in. And countries are going, you know what? And if they all get on board, this is what it takes. Let's wipe the slate clean. I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. Let's make this all easier and go back to zero. That's what they're counting on, okay? And they're just trying to figure out how to pass it off to the people. This could be the start. Watch this, because if too much of this goes on and they don't do anything, this is where you're going to get the people start going, we need a great reset of our entire economy. And that should scare the piss out of you. Pinball out.